What's happening, people? Welcome back to the show. This is the Upper Tier Podcast, the football and pro wrestling podcast that we bring you each and every week. It's Wednesday, it's midweek. We're going to break up all the football action that we give to you each and every week. And we're going to give you this pro wrestling show tonight. It's Pro Wrestling Weekly. We're going to be taking a look at Crown Jewel, quick review of that. We're going to be going down through all the latest news. And of course, we'll be bringing you our selection of historical events for this week and notable birthdays. Let me know in the chat if there's any issue with the audio or anything like that. We have been having a few issues. I think some of it has been related to StreamYard or YouTube. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on that as well. You might see I am rocking this mustache. It is Movember. So we're going to be supporting men's mental health this month through the month of November, through Movember. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate that. I was waiting for someone to know it all right. Dare I say the love child of the outlaw Ron Bass nearly by the end of the month, I would imagine. But we'll see where it goes. As always, folks, if you can hit the subscribe and bell notification button, drop a like on the video, all that good stuff. And don't forget to follow us as well on all the other socials out there, especially TikTok. We're trying to grow our TikTok page now. We stuff out there on a daily basis. And on top of that as well, the audio shows are out there. If you're going for a walk or you're hitting the gym or any of those things, if you prefer audio, Spotify is your place. Google Podcasts and Amazon Music is where you'll find all that good stuff. Let's take some of the comments. The Hammer is in, but it's not Greg, the Hammer Valentine. It's Stephen Dillon. How are you, Stephen? Can't believe that clown is the new US champ. We will be getting your thoughts on that. Don't worry about it. Ian is in, the other OG. How about those bootleg Make-A-Wish Road Warriors for ITV World of Sport British Wrestling? But sure, Ian, isn't that why we loved it? Ian sent me a YouTube video the other day. That was the Road Warriors, wasn't it? Versus Robbie Brookside, I think it was. And these two boys came out as the Road Warriors, but I got a bit excited when I started watching it. Then when I realized that it wasn't actually the Road Warriors, I was a bit disappointed. And Stephen Regal was one of the Nature Boys. It's mad, isn't it? Also, and it had been so obvious that LA Knight wasn't going to win or walk out of WWE Crown Jewel as WWE Universal Heavyweight Champion. Yeah, we will go through it though. Don't worry. We'll get into Crown Jewel. Get your thoughts on it. Your stash looks ravishing. Yup. Yeah, maybe a kind of a little sort of Rick Rude, Outlaw Ron Bass, that kind of thing. Yeah, absolutely. Audio all good, says Stephen. Cheers, Stephen. Appreciate that. Is Cena gone? No, he's not. Cena's not bowing out with that match. That's absolute nonsense. I don't think so anyway. Jake the Steak Mustache. There you go, Stephen. Love that as well. Cena's match had a terrible ending. Yeah, we'll get thoughts on that and all and stuff. Logan is best for business, modern business of clicks and social media. Also, he done a great job saving Ray. He did. He did indeed. Absolutely. And I'm sure Ray was thanking him afterwards as well. Don't forget, folks, Movember porn star activated. There you go. That's what I was going to say. Yeah. You better start coming across with a bit of cash for this mental health. I will be dropping the link in there, folks. Don't let me down. I have to rock this for a month. So there you go. Sean is in. LA Knight hadn't an arse's roaring winning, but I knew, even though we all knew that we were all going to be fuming when it happened. Yeah, somewhat. But we will get into it. He's growing a mustache for Anchorman 3-row. Big up Acers. I love that. Another good one as well. Right, where do we begin? Let's talk about Crown Jewel. I'm going to put up some of the action there on the screen so you can see it there while we talk down through it. Let us know your thoughts. Let's start off. Sami Zayn and the pre-show versus. This was weird the other day because I was thinking kind of 6 o'clock for this, and then I realized the change in the hour, so it was back to 5. And then I realized the kickoff show was probably starting at 4, which I didn't realize because I was obviously watching some of the football and stuff like that. So the pre-show kicked off, and the minute I turned it on, Sami Zayn was coming down to the ring versus JD McDonough. So it was all good. So we didn't have to, sort of wade through that pre-show of guff and stuff like that. No, we got straight into it. But just before we get into this, make sure you're checking out Morris's channel tonight. He's just premiering right now. He's after doing an interview with Kevin Patrick Egan from WWE. Fantastic interview. I'm about 5 or 10 minutes into it. Awesome stuff. So make sure you check it out. Make sure you head over there straight after this show. Give it a like, show the support. Morris absolutely knocking it out of the park. And if you enjoy that one as well, Morris, just to let you know, I was driving into work today and I also checked out Whatever Amy. So while you're over there, guys, make sure you check out Whatever Amy. Another really, really good interview. Girl there with a very interesting story. So make sure you check that out. Right, let's get into it. Crown Jewel 2023 in the bag. Overall, my thoughts on this are kind of like, I think for the first half of the year, say up as far as Money in the Bank, they were absolutely knocking it out of the park. Backlash, Money in the Bank, knocking it out of the park. I thought it was awesome. They were operating at a very high level, these premium live events. And then sort of SummerSlam happened, and it kind of wasn't it wasn't that they were bad. None of them have been bad, but they just haven't hit that level at all. They just haven't hit that level they were hitting in the first half of the year, which leads me to believe maybe we have hope for Survivor Series coming up in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever it is. We're going to absolutely knock it out of the park with Survivor Series. Orton potentially coming back. Got to figure out who's going to be on these teams later. You know, CM Punk potentially. Is CM Punk going to rock up in Chicago? A lot of the latest news today is that it's not going to happen. Are they just throwing us off the scent? Um, yeah, so just give me your thoughts on that as well. But I thought this, I enjoyed this show. I kind of, to knock it out of the park, I thought maybe we needed either a world heavyweight change or a cash in. I didn't think LA Knight would win the belt, similar to you guys in the chat. But I don't think he came out of it bad. I think they put on a pretty decent show, in fairness, you know. Some people would say that it was a typical Reigns um, showing, and that I would agree with. But I think LA Knight came out. I think he came out pretty good from it and stuff like that. I don't think it's diluted him in any way, you know. Let's take some comments here. Uh, Yeah, LA Knight Morris. LA Knight time is not quite yet. Absolutely. Stevens in. I heard rumors that Tensoi is coming back for the Rumble. Oh, good lord. What do we do? What about AEW, folks? Just rolling out these guys. Big Show, Edge, Ric Flair. We're going to be talking about Ric Flair. Don't worry about that. We're going to be talking about Ric Flair. We're going to be talking about the NXT deal. We're going to be talking about Jim Cornette. Probably not on Kane's Christmas card list, I would imagine. We'll be talking about that. Vince McMahon, we'll be talking about that. Plenty to talk about tonight. It's not so much Roman winning the match that was annoying. It more so the match was exactly what we'd seen so many times before. Great point, WWV for you. Absolutely. And WWV for you, if you don't want me to keep on calling you WWV for you, give me your first name. And we call you by your first name rather than that, because it's kind of a bit Morse code, if you like, and stuff, you know. Please end the podcast with you stay classy, Ireland. Yeah, absolutely. Stay classy. Imagine, yeah. I can do that, John. Remind me, I can do that, absolutely. Acers, can't believe that WWE are doing John Cena 2003 breakout year with LA Knight winning US Championship at WrestleMania 40. Hey, that might be just exactly what it needs. I have a lot of strong thoughts on the US title at the moment. Fair play to JD McDevlin done it, for keeping going with that horrendous canvas burn. Absolutely, that looked raw. And I don't know if you noticed when they went to the close up of it, it was nearly pouring, wasn't it? It was like nearly something alive coming out of his side. It was glistening. Uh, Thanks, Noel. Ahmed Johnson up on Friday. I tell you, non-stop Morris. This guy is grinding like myself. Make sure you're showing the love. You're gonna get whatever Amy. You're getting Kevin, Patrick Egan. You're getting Ahmed Johnson. Where would you get it? Tell me another wrestling podcast out there that's pumping that out like that. Show the support. It was okay house show pay per view. Yeah, I don't know. Like it's always a spectacle there as well, isn't it? It just looks crazy and all, but yeah, Sami Zayn and JD McDonough. Yeah, there was kind of a little few awkward bits in it and stuff like that. But I thought they were like Jordan Devlin at the moment is he's kind of when Dolph Ziggler has exited the building, Jordan has come in basically. JD has come in and basically probably become the number one seller in the business there at the moment in terms of selling for you and stuff like that. Unbelievable. Stevens in payback was trash. Judgment Day. Acers, Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins was a banger. It was a banger, and it was expected to be a banger. Tell me this though, chat. How many times are we going to hear about Drew McIntyre and this broken dreams? This broken dreams keeps on coming out time and time again. And they testing his resolve at a time where they're negotiating his contract. He must have a pain in his backside doing these absolutely knocking out of the park vignettes, and then they just don't push the button on it. I don't know what's going on there. CM Punk returning, I'm calling it. You reckon, Stephen? Are you sold on it? I was listening to some of the internal stuff today, and apparently, I think they're saying it's not on the cards. I don't know if you've been out on TikTok. TikTok have one of those like a call in thing. It's a WWE one with Triple H and a lot of the wrestlers and stuff like that, and it's a spoof one, obviously. And they're talking about CM Punk coming back and all, and Rollins comes in and gives his stick on it, and Triple H gives his, and then Shawn Michaels comes in. It's the funniest thing ever. Check it out on TikTok. Really, really funny stuff. Uh, is it just me, or is Reign so boring? Um, you know something? I don't know what to think about Roman Reigns at the moment. I looked at him there the other night as well at Crown Jewel, and he looks like he's shrunk down quite a bit as well, isn't he? He's not as blown out as he was. Now he still looks amazing, of course. And I just don't know what the background is at the moment. He's gone off again now for potentially another 3 to 4 months. There's no mention really of the Rumble. There's no real mention of Elimination Chamber. Is he potentially gone all the way to Mania? Hardly. What are they going to do? Where does it lie with the belt and all? You've got SmackDown there, which is kind of like a hostage at the moment because there's no title on it and stuff like that. And look, we love the old school way of do things, long title reigns and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know, the way the bloodline kind of has dissolved and stuff like that. You don't really get the same kick out of it now when Jimmy and Solo kind of hit the ring, and Heyman isn't having as much of an influence as he had before in those key moments and all. And I don't know, it's a weird way of doing it. I think what happens is it's kind of similar to the Undertaker with the streak. They've kind of built this all up. Do they want him to be Hogan's record of 1,400 days or whatever it is, or who knows what they want to do? And how are they going to do it? Are they trying to find the exact moment when they should pull the trigger on him losing the belt and how he does it? And are they trying to find the right way to do it so it doesn't kind of dilute and dissolve what they did with the bloodline over a 2 or 3 year period? That doesn't just wash away. You know, kind of how we felt when Taker dropped the streak to Lesnar. And we kind of went, so we went through all this for this. I think it's the same type of feeling about it. Maybe they're trying to figure out a way of getting Cody back to that table, in a structured kind of fashion and stuff like that, to get the belt to Cody and all. And it just seems like they're trying to figure it out, but they haven't figured it out yet. They've built up this whole thing, but where does it go? That's my kind of feeling on it at the moment. Big up to Snitsky coming back on Monday for a segment. He's delighted. Yeah, absolutely. I actually have it there, Morris. Look, I knew this would come up as a conversation. It wasn't my fault. There he is. Look, I loved it. That bit with Chelsea Crane, it was classic. We all love Snitsky, of course. He was absolutely cool. Also, folks, don't forget, check out Morris's channel. That man has been on Morris's channel. Check out the episode. Really good episode with Gene Snitsky. Very, very good. But let's get back to Crown Jewel because we're not finished talking about it yet. Yeah, it was a cool segment, Morris. It was pretty good. I was in Limerick for the day on a staycation, so couldn't watch all of it, but I liked what I watched. A staycation, very nice, Sean. Staycation in Limerick. Endeavour describe as a major risk factor in creative. Endeavour describe as a major risk factor in creative decisions. I know where you're going with that, Acers. We have it down below on the slide. I know where you're going. Drew has really fell off. I would say he has hit rock bottom. No, it's I was talking to Darren before the show, and Darren was saying, surely we're gonna get either a title change and not the US one, or a cash in or something like that. So I'm sure when he's seeing Priest coming down, he was thinking, here we go, we're gonna get this cash in that I was talking about. And then of course Sami Zayn comes down to absolutely destroy it and stuff like that. I think it would have been really cool if I had been cash in and stuff like that. What do we make of Damian Priest, folks, as well? You know, Sammy runs off with the briefcase. The briefcase nowhere to be found when Priest comes out later. And then, of course, losing to Cody Rhodes as well. So Damian Priest won't have a fond memory, say, of Saudi and Crown Jewel 2023. But the news coming out from WWE as well is that he's doing an absolute stellar job. He's actually been working through some knocks and injuries and stuff like that and hasn't made a meal of it at all. And apparently WWE officials are very impressed with him and his attitude and stuff like that, which is absolutely fantastic to hear. And brilliant, brilliant stuff. Morris asked Adman Johnson, did he enjoy mouth-to-mouth kiss? He could ask him, no doubt about it. Nigel's in. Good up, Nigel. Niall, have you heard about the new Arsenal bra? Has a lot of support, but no cups. Good Lord. Love it, Nigel. Love it. As Dusty would say, LA Knight, that's for somebody else. We're going to keep you right where you're at. I don't know. I think, what do you think, folks? I think LA Knight came out of that match pretty strong. I don't think it's diluted them in any way. I don't think anyone expected to do it. And I think in the build-up, I think he did a really stellar job on the build-up to get you kind of thinking that he might do it. Although we knew that that's not where the belt was going to be dropped. Acer's gold dust. Yeah, absolutely. I wonder if Roman has health issues again. Morris, I was only talking. There was a guy in the shop today, and we started a conversation about Roman Reigns. And that's what I was thinking. Has something come back there? And is he going through that special, that new treatment that they have out there? I don't think it's chemo or radiation. I think it's something different. I'm praying it's not. I hope he's gone off to do movies or programs or series or whatever it is. But it just seems the breaks are more and more. And I don't think they're contrived in a way like the way they used to be to get us to have more of a want and a desire. So I'm hoping not the case. Roman Reigns' next title defense is AJ Styles at the Royal Rumble. I haven't seen that anywhere, Racers. But you have to be careful when you put these out there because a lot of that can be just talk. But I haven't seen anything out there at all. And the Rumble post I wouldn't allow to it. I hope it is because I'm going to it. Can't wait to go. Roman will never even come close to the wrestler Hogan was. Look, Hulkamania. Hulk Hogan's immortal, isn't he? So, I don't know. I think over the last 3 years, you can see the shades of it, isn't there? Not there's parallels between the two. I mean, obviously Hogan is, Hogan. It's iconic, you know. Um, but yeah, Roman will never come close to the wrestler Hulk Hogan was. I think in terms of wrestling, I think certainly he's there. I think in terms of connecting with the audience, and he's done a good job on that as well. But I just think sometimes it's run on a bit long and stuff like that. And again, Hogan, of course, didn't always have the band of brothers around him until the NWO and stuff like that. And also, Morris, a triple threat loss protects him. Yeah, depends on what the plans are for him going forward in terms of protection and stuff like that. You don't necessarily, if you're gonna drop a title after that length of time, you don't necessarily want to protect the guy. You might necessarily want it to be a huge occasion with a fairly clean outcome. I'm looking forward to seeing Randy Orton RKO Cody Rhodes next feud. Problem is, if that happens, we're kind of on this kind of wavering road to get Cody back to the title, aren't we? How do we do that if this is the way this is going to go? You know what I mean? It's a weird one. And I also was talking today to the same guy in the shop, and I was thinking, if they are going to go down the road of Cody Rhodes, and this is the plan, get the title, complete the circle, Dusty, all that kind of great stuff, it can't be off someone else. It has to be off someone as significant as Roman Reigns. Anything less than that will feel like it won't feel like it. Imagine WrestleMania in Crow Park. That would be amazing. Amazing. And we did say last week on the show, they are talking to a lot of cities at the moment about bidding for these premium live events. And surely Ireland's going to pull the trigger on one with the people we've had in there and the success and all that kind of stuff. Ireland has to get a premium live event, doesn't it? Drew McIntyre will be in AEW next year. Don't know about that. Not too sure about that, Acers. A lot of talk coming out of AEW at the moment. It's not most pleasant place to be, is from what I read. Yeah, Night is still fresh. Yeah, absolutely. According to PW podcast, Vince McMahon a risk. Yeah, we're going to be talking about that. Don't worry. Have it all down there. I despise Damian Priest. You don't like him, no? He's doing a good job. If you despise him, he does a good job. WWE needs to do more hardcore stuff. Don't know. Don't know. I don't think that's kind of, I think they're on a different kind of model, if you like. Bruno will always be above Hogan and Roman because of the sheer volume of title defenses. Different era, granted. Yeah, Bruno, some fantastic matches from Bruno and stuff like that. No, but still, it's just, yeah, Bruno's a real trunks and knee pads man, wasn't he? You know what I mean? You kind of wonder, wouldn't you? Like, I mean, like, it's such a different era, isn't it? Like merchandise, social media, all those kind of key factors that go into deciding on a superstar and what their next move is and stuff like that. But Bruno was just like, here's the hardy bastard here who can carry it properly, you know. At GP Podcast, have you ever watched a Bruno Sammartino match in your life? We have. We certainly have. Morris would be a connoisseur, Stephen. We have. And I like watching that old stuff. I really have an appreciation for that old stuff. I loved World of Sport and stuff like that and all. And still go back, even when I'm in the shop sometimes working, I'll put on some World of Sport, or, I'll even put on some Jim Crockett promotion, some of that earlier NWA stuff and all. I like that stuff. I'll watch Bruno Sammartino. The Aviva Stadium, yeah, that would be class acers, wouldn't it? I've seen matches on YouTube as all. Not that old, Stephen. No, he's not that old, but we have seen them. RDS held 18K in 2005. It did, yeah, absolutely. Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio street fight. Speaking of Eddie Guerrero's anniversary coming up next week, folks. We're going to be doing some Eddie Guerrero content. I have a couple of shows there. Some that we recorded in the past with my bros from the four Podmen and stuff like that. We'll re-release them up there onto the channel and stuff like that. But we will definitely next week, a lot of the show will be dedicated to Eddie Guerrero. We'll be asking you your memories of him, the stuff that you liked, and all the different storylines, stuff like that. So the vast bulk of next week's show is going to be dedicated to Eddie Guerrero, and then of course the following week we're going to be previewing SummerSlam, our Survivor Series, and all that kind of stuff. So add upper tier, off topic, commercial break. What are the best Irish sausages? I've had Denny's and I love them. Super Quinn, Nigel. Super Quinn sausages are the best sausages. Either Super Quinn or Clonakilty. And if you're a pudding fan, Clonakilty is the best pudding on the planet. So there you go. If you're a fan of the full Irish, as they say. But yeah, Clonakilty or Super Quinn sausages are outrageous. Agree or disagree, chat? WWV for you. I feel the men's Royal Rumble winner has to win the next WrestleMania, since that hasn't been done since 2020. Yeah, great shout. Great shout. Anything else we want to add on Crown Jewel? I thought the girls did all right. The Fatal Five Way, I wasn't a big fan of it and stuff like that, but I thought they did okay. There was some nice intricate pieces there and stuff like that, which was pretty cool. Solo versus Cena. We got to talk about Solo versus Cena because Sean's in the chat, who's a big Cena fan and stuff like that, like a lot of us and stuff. What did we make of Solo versus Cena? A lot of people were talking about, I've seen some of the reviews out there talking about how this was huge for Solo and all this kind of thing. Never felt like that to me. I didn't feel like that at all. Having to hit your finisher 8, 10 times on him was kind of slack. Cena trying to hit the AA a number of times was kind of slack. All the talk about it being Cena's last match and all this kind of thing, I think is kind of slack. Cena's not going out in that match. And I'm not too sure. They were talking about how this elevated Solo. Does anyone really feel like it elevated Solo? Obviously, getting a win over John Cena is a big thing. But I mean, if you look at John Cena, and we have a slide. Here's one we prepared earlier, as Gabo would say in the late. This is Cena. All these losses: Seth Rollins, Elias, The Undertaker, Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Bray Wyatt, Austin Theory, Solo. Look at Austin Theory. Austin Theory getting the win at WrestleMania. What did they do for Austin Theory? Nada. So I'd be a bit apprehensive at what I read online about how this is going to kick Solo into another level and all this kind of thing. Not for me. I didn't see that at all in the match. If anything, I thought they could have done much better in the match and it could have been much better put together. This lack of hitting your finisher 8, 10 times, I think is ridiculous. What happens now if he goes out and he's wrestling someone and he hits them once? It kind of, if anything coming out of this, it diluted his finisher. Now, listen, Cena looked a bit smashed up at the end of it when he was leaving the ring and stuff like that and all. But again, I just don't think this delivered that leap that you would expect from a big win against John Cena. So, again, let me know your thoughts. Maybe I'm wrong. Always let me know what you think as well. Morris is in. Country style Kilkenny sausages and Clonakilty pudding. Yeah, Clonakilty pudding is the king. Country style Kilkenny sausages. Morris going to be hitting you up for them. Thanks for the tip. Absolutely. Generally speaking, Nigel, anything outside of Aldi, Lidl, kind of those type of things, unless you're going for the good stuff as well. But Super Quinn have an unbelievable selection of sausages, even flavored ones and stuff like that. And they're big into it. But Super Quinn sausages are really, really nice. I fell asleep. Latino Heat, what a legend. Absolutely. One of my favorites. It's always a tough time of year when we come around to Eddie's anniversary, and so many years on. And every year that comes around, and you still have that feeling of that loss of how we were kind of done out of so much of his career and stuff like that and all, it was just really, really sad. Some people, I say it at times in this and talk about, like, we spoke last week about WWE Supervan, your man Vladimir and stuff like that. Sometimes there's people in this business that really, touch us and go into our hearts and stuff like that. Eddie Guerrero was one of those guys, no doubt about it, Stephen. Acer Solo done it for Umaga Revenge 2007. Maybe that's the line they should have been spinning, because then maybe it would be more meaningful. Denny and Galti, he says, absolutely, yeah. And Stephen, Zack Ryder was saying last week that he met a fan with loads of wrestlers tatted onto himself, with the biggest tat being Benoit right in the middle of his chest. Madness. Hey, but if you get it done, what can you do? You know what I mean? And I always say as well that if you want to figure out that Benoit situation, you have to separate all that stuff and think about the wrestling. And I know it's very difficult to do. Even me as a father with kids, it's very difficult to do. I was a huge Chris Benoit fan. I still have pictures of myself with Chris Benoit at WrestleMania 22 when I went with the guys and stuff like that. For me, he was an outstanding performer and stuff like that. But it's so difficult and stuff like that and all. But hey, what can you do? O'Shane's in. Big up O'Shane. Hey, Niall. All good, my friend. Glad you could join us. Let us know your thoughts, O'Shane, what you thought of Crown Jewel and stuff like that. MJF wants to face Flair in a Buried Alive match. I'm all for it. Yeah, absolutely. So good, MJF, at those comebacks now, wasn't it? Really dressing down Flair and stuff like that. During that JC versus SS match, I fell asleep. Yeah. Yeah, it was a tough one. What's the crack, Noel? Daz, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Good to see you in there. Apple and turkey sausages are amazing. I haven't had them yet. Good man, Isis. I'll be trying them out. I don't normally veer off the turkey sausages or the chicken sausages. And normally, if I'm gonna have sausages, it's like if I'm gonna have something that's not necessarily good for me, and like like a fry or something like that, I don't want to have chicken sausages or turkey bacon or stuff like that. I'm gonna have a fry, and then afterwards I'm gonna feel horrible because I did it. That's the way I normally approach it. Crown Jewel, pretty mediocre, wasn't it? Yeah, it was kind of. It's not that it was bad. It just didn't hit the straps that maybe we were expecting it to do. But Benoit was a wrestling machine, absolutely. Roman kicks out so slow. He does. How many times in that match did we think it was a 3 count? The Benoit tragedy is just that, a tragedy, but I still have a huge admiration for his body of work. But I totally understand people who struggle to separate the art from the artist. Sean, spot on, spot on. Good, Niall. Good to hear it, Daz. I thought LA Knight had won. How many times? And that was kind of a. We seen a bit of that as well, I think, in the Drew set match as well. Ric Flair is under the devil mask. He can't be Acers. How can it be Ric Flair? That'd be crazy. Let us know your thoughts. I wanted to get your thoughts as well on what was the one? The US match, Rey Mysterio versus Logan Paul. It's no secret that the US belt, if you think about it in terms of what Gunter has done with the IC belt, he's brought it to a level that's nearly close to transcending the world belts if you think about the body of work he's put in. And him against Miz coming up at Survivor Series. Good Lord, Miz, get your chest ready, boy. Get your chest ready. What did you feel about this? I mean, obviously Austin Theory, since he won the US belt, he had a real tough year carrying stuff like that. It just became kind of meaningless. Now, was it overshadowed because of the IC belt with Gunter and stuff like that? Maybe. Then you look at Ray. Ray took on the belt, and we all kind of thought that maybe the breakup of the LWO would lead to the title change and the belt going in there. And, maybe there was a little bit of that with the Knucks at the ring and that kind of thing the other day and stuff like that. But how do we feel about Logan Paul taking on the belt? And we'll know more probably this Friday or on SmackDown when we find out what his intentions are in terms of his schedule and stuff like that. Could we see a situation where out of sight, elevates it a little bit more? Obviously, Logan Paul's going to be bringing this belt around with him everywhere. It's going to be on the podcast, any of the appearances he does and stuff like that. So it's going to get huge exposure, even outside of the wrestling bubble, I would imagine. And I wonder, could that elevate it to be more meaningful and stuff like that? Let's see what happens with it. It's hard to understand what way it's going to go until we see what the plan is for it, really. But it's definitely going to be interesting. That's in. Who do you think will win next week? Team Edge, Sting, and Darby, or Team Christian? My heart would tell me Edge, Sting, and Darby. My head is telling me Christian at the moment is electric. Electric. And I think that's the way they might go. I think Edge might be left waiting just that little bit longer, I think. But it certainly could be very interesting. The other thing that could happen, maybe they might start laying the groundwork for. I wonder, is Ric Flair going to be ringside at this? And if Ric Flair is going to be ringside, are they going to lay the groundwork for him versus Sting? Could Rick get involved, maybe costing the match or something like that? I don't know. Because it looks like they're talking about Sting and Ric Flair, aren't they, for that retirement match early next year? So let's see what happens there. LA Knight reminds me of 99 Stone Cold. Hey, not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. What do you think of MJF's face run? Do you know, I liked it. I liked it when he was doing the stuff with Adam Cole and he was being the nice guy, because you kind of felt there was a swerve coming. I'm not too sure about MJF as a face, an actual out and out face and stuff like that. I like him to teeter on the edge. So I'm not too sure. It's kind of, I think when he's doing this face run, what happens is we hear less and less about him, don't we? But when he's sticking it in and stuff like that, like a heel, I think what happened was he probably got a bit jaded with the heel stuff as well, because he was churning out kind of the same thing over and over again, and he probably felt it was probably going to get a bit stale. But MJF's face run, yeah, absolutely. Ocean, CM Punk's WWE profile got updated yesterday. Interesting. What's the status, O'Shane? What's the status on it? Massive respect to Logan Paul. He clearly puts in the hours and shows the business great respect. Yeah, and the funny thing about it is, I was looking, I don't know whether you picked up it on the match at all, Kenny. Did you find the match with Mysterio just a little bit clunky? Just a little bit clunky. And I'm not even talking about the save where he saved Mysterio from spiking himself, but I just thought even the interaction between the two, it wasn't as fluid. It was just a little bit clunky. Now, I'm not too sure what caused that. Maybe it's Logan's first time in there with a smaller opponent. I thought the continually going for the 619 and stuff like that, I thought got a little bit jaded in the match and stuff like that. But certainly, I'm very interested to see what happens now with the US belt and Logan Paul. But yeah, absolutely, loads of respect for anyone who steps through the ropes. It's called the US Prime Championship now. I wouldn't be surprised. No mention of Will Energy now, and we'll be talking about that. Don't worry. I'm starting to think it might actually happen. Yeah. LWO need to turn heel. I think that's going to happen. I think there's a breakup there on the cards. I think it's kind of been. I think from the get go, the LWO was a little bit weird. I do love Carlito, but and Santos, he's pretty good as well. And hey, listen, I'm not Selena sweet as well, but let's see what happens. I'm not too sure. That LWO, I think what happened was people just didn't take it in straight away. Sure, they didn't. So they kind of just accepted it for what it was. And then there's questions about why are certain people in there, and but I do like having Carlito back. Looking forward to watching Logan Paul versus Kevin Owens at Survivor Series. Is that what they're going with? I haven't seen any of this announced. I have a few matches there, all right. Um, but it'll be interesting to see. Logan Paul versus Conor McGregor at Mania for the belt, night one headliner. Can you imagine? I don't even know whether I'd like to take a work punch off Conor McGregor. You mean Adam Copeland? Adam Copeland, yeah. Adam Copeland. Of course we do. Could Cena be a save? Could Cena be at Survivor Series? Um, he could be, but they're kind of going to have to figure out with him what they want to do. I got the feeling that Crown Jewel he was done for the rest of the year. Um, maybe a surprise entrance in the Rumble or something like that. I don't know what they're going to do with him because it's kind of like he's on this horrible run at the moment, isn't he? And it's kind of diluting it down a bit, the legacy, isn't it, and stuff like that. I get sometimes when you reach that stage in your career, you want to put guys over and stuff like that and all, but I don't know. The solo match just didn't work for me at all. I didn't like it at all. I'd love Ryder and Hawkins to return to WWE. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Absolutely. I'm still waiting for Ryback's return. Don't hold your breath. Don't hold your breath. And especially if they're talking to CM Punk, don't hold your breath. That definitely wouldn't be the case. Do you think War Games will be 5 versus 5? And if so, who do you see being the fifth member for each team? We're going to look at that, Sean. Pull it up there now while you have it there. So, yeah, Survivor Series. So obviously, I'm quite excited. Zoe Stark, I really like that. I think she's excellent. I think there's a different intensity to her that I really like when she's working and stuff like that. And I like the way this match has come together against Rhea and stuff like that. I did enjoy the battle royal and stuff like that. So I'm okay with that match. And I'm looking forward to seeing the two girls 1-on-1. And Zoe's she can go. She can go. Miz versus Gunther is an interesting one. Miz needs to get ready for that, of course. And then of course we have the five on it's definitely gonna be 5-on-5, isn't it? So who do we think chat is going in there? Let us know who do you think is going onto each team. My guess is Judgment Day is going to be Drew McIntyre, isn't it? I would think. That says all right, Morris. AEW is an Aldi version of WWE. Eric Erickson, welcome to the chat, my friend. Ric Flair as an opponent for Ric Flair's last match sounds like a disaster waiting to happen. Yeah, absolutely. Look at the last one. The last one is so tough to watch. So tough to watch. And if you look over my shoulder there, look, I'm as big a Ric Flair fan as anyone. But as I said on a few podcasts back, there's only so many last match action figures I can buy for Ric Flair and stuff like that. So I don't know what they're going to do, but they've obviously got something planned around Sting and stuff like that. They haven't just brought him in. And we were hearing last week as well, didn't we hear that the doctors have cleared him now to go back wrestling and all? Good Lord, have mercy. Let's not forget he saved Mysterio because Logan's own positioning was wrong. Yeah, he was kind of off, but wasn't he as well? But I don't think, yeah, I think you're right, yeah. But listen, that's a very good sign as well from a guy as well. He has to be commended for that as well because, you know, some people would panic in that position and it would end up turning very bad. It was just an update to his profile on the WWE website. But again, very interesting. Yeah, they're teasing little things, stuff like that. And listen, I'm as bad at it as anyone because when I put TikTok videos up at the moment, I'm putting CM Punk team tunes to them and stuff like that. So I'm as bad as anyone at doing this stuff. The fact that it's being updated, yeah, makes me wonder if he might be returning. Who knows? They got to listen. We're not going to know until the night. The fear is Survivor Series in Chicago is that they tease it and they tease it and they tease it and they build us up to it and then they drop us on the night and it doesn't happen and it goes from could have been a stellar pay-per-view to knock out the end of the year to being one of the mediocre ones that we've seen in the second half. And that's kind of the risk, really, isn't it? I'd rather watch Michael Cole versus Hornswoggle than AEW. I love Hornswoggle. Met him a few times. Oh, what a guy. Great guy to talk to. Cena won't be returning until Elimination Chamber. Yeah, it's a good shout, Aces. It's not a bad thing either. I thought Cena and Solo was probably the best Cena match in ages. He put on a shift, did some good limb targeting, and the ending was brutal and put over Solo as a killer. Some of it I agree with. I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure if a guy has to hit you with 10 of his finish with his finisher 8 or 10 times or whatever it was. makes him a killer. I'm not too sure. That's the only thing I would say about it. And I just didn't get, I didn't get that big deal feeling. You know what I mean? I got that Brock Lesnar breaking the streak feeling. That's the feeling I got. That it was kind of like, okay, it's a big thing, but it's not sitting with me. Drew McIntyre and Judgment Day team, and Randy Orton are on Cody Rhodes' team. Randy Orton going in there. Interesting. Yeah, I think that's not a bad shout at all. WWE needs a 7-foot superstar. Do they? Do they? I'm I'm not too sure. I'm not too sure. That's the NWO coming out on you, Stephen. I meant Ric Flair for Sting's last match. Yeah, absolutely. I knew what you meant, Eric. No doubt about it. Yeah, just it'd be just I don't know. I don't know. There'd have to be some sort of gimmicked up thing, and it has to be probably has to be a tag match, doesn't it? Probably has to be a tag match. Something tells me Jeff Jarrett might get involved in that. If Sting and Darby versus Flair and Jarrett or something like that, just I forgot that Bret Hart was a cowboy on ITV's World of Sport Wrestling. You love that World of Sport, Dino. Do you remember what Flair did on the plane with from hell? I do. Well, allegedly what he did. Allegedly what he did. Give us Punk or Orton and I'm delighted. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But because it's in Chicago, everyone's going to be thinking and having that desire for CM Punk. So Randy Orton coming back, yeah, it would be great to see Randy Orton back and people will pop like crazy for it. But if you're expecting CM Punk in Chicago and you roll out Randy Orton, will Seth have a match? Yeah, Seth's on Cody's team, I believe, isn't he? So that'll be interesting. The chance in Chicago will be lit buzzing for it. Yeah, absolutely. And that's a nice stadium as well. I've been in that stadium as well. It's really, really, it's very vertical and it's really, really on the action and stuff like that. You're never too far away from it. When we were there, Undertaker came out and they did his fire, the fire pyro that he does, and you could feel it scorching your face. And we were 10 rows from the back. So there you go. That'll tell you how tight it is. Stephen, Flair was doing a helicopter on an airplane. Absolute shambles. Imagine witnessing it. I remember was it RVD who said he told him to sit down or something like that? Like, it's just mad. WWE, the Stardust card for Survivor Series, nice. Might get Cody over. I was talking about Cody as well there the other day, and I was thinking if Cody did get the belt at Mania, wouldn't it be a nice touch if Dustin came out and stuff like that and all, I think that would be really cool. That would be a WrestleMania moment. Cody to win the belt at WrestleMania. You get something flashing up on the screen for Dusty, something really, really cool, or something holographic or something like that. And Dustin comes out and stuff like that. I think that would be cool. That would be a moment. I like to think of it as he wanted revenge for Umaga, and Cena really humbled him on the mic. But I'm clutching at straws here, to be honest. Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the Cena in you, Sean. Two Samoan talents from NLW asked for their release or being released. No idea. Eric's in. How are you? I think that the thing about when Brock Lesnar broke the streak was his record was very 50-50. But I think when they had Lesnar absolutely demolished Cena at SummerSlam that year, it made it worth it, in my opinion. Yeah, true. But I don't know. I'm not even an Undertaker fan, and the whole streak thing just find it kind of weird, to be honest. Looking forward to seeing Randy Orton putting Cody Rhodes in the match. Hail Randy Orton and there's Seth Rollins, Royal Rumble. Yeah, absolutely. O'Shane, I want Orton back in any capacity. Yeah, everyone wants Orton back. Orton has been missed, no doubt about it. Huge star power there with Randy Orton. I was watching some Evolution stuff there the other day, and back in the day, it was kind of cool. Really cool. Cena's been in my life too long to try and shit him. Absolutely. Who are you talking to? He's my guy. He's my guy. That plane would have been some crack. I was pissing myself laughing when Goldust shaved the back of Lesnar's head when he was sleeping. That's mad, isn't it? And I think didn't they blame it? Didn't he blame it on didn't he blame it on Mr. Perfect or something like that? Am I right? Isn't that what was in the show? He blamed it on Mr. Perfect. or something like that. So there you go. Survivor Series. We'll keep you updated on it and stuff like that as more matches are announced, stuff like that. Acers will keep us triggered now there with some that's out there. He generally gets it right. Wanted to talk about something I found very interesting. Of course, NXT after signing a contract with the CW network, kicking in October, I think it is 2024. It's a 5-year deal as far as I know, and they've basically doubled their money or more. Apparently, they were originally earning somewhere around $15 million, and now it's $37 million a year. Absolutely massive, and you can see how NXT has grown and stuff like that. You see it now; it really is, a show that stands on its own 2 feet. It doesn't even feel as much now anymore. It feels like a feeder show to the other shows and stuff like that. It really is that third show now. The work that H has done there and Shawn Michaels, absolutely to be commended. And following on from that, I read a story today as well on this, which is really cool as well. I think it's this one. If you look at their picture of the Performance Center, of course, but it says according to WWE, source was Variety, of course, almost 90% of the participants in last year's WrestleMania were developed under the NXT banner. That's really, really cool because I remember when they were originally putting the Performance Center together, and I was thinking, they're going to churn a load of guys in here. It's going to be kind of factory made production line, that kind of thing, and all. And we're going to get a lot of vanilla bland kind of stuff coming out of it and stuff like that. And how wrong I was, and glad I was wrong and stuff like that. But the benefits that the company is feeling now from the investment that's made in the Performance Center and NXT, which is a huge investment if you check out their financials. When you think about the people they have working down there, a lot of it we don't even hear about working in the background and stuff like that and all. Really, really cool to see the company reaping the benefits that now that 90% of the WrestleMania participants last year came out of development under the NXT banner, which is really, really cool. And what that tells you is that's a great motivational thing as well. You can imagine Shawn Michaels talking about that to who's down there at the moment and stuff like that, giving them the impetus to show that, look, you can make it to the big stage. If you put in the work, you put in the graft, you put in the character development, you go through everything that we need you to do, you're patient and you understand how we do things down here, you can make it to the big show. You can make it to the big stage. So absolutely wonderful to see that. I was blown away by that today. Really was blown away. Um, where are we? Yeah. Shane, that Orton Triple H fight in Orton's house was a classic. Yeah. I could give you a bad one though. Shane, I was at WrestleMania 25. Horrific. Horrific, my friend. Go back and look at that match. I heard you pay $2 grand to have a drink with Taker Niall. I did, yeah. Whereas I wouldn't pay anyone to have a drink with them. But saying that, he has been poor recently, but I love how unselfish he is. Yeah, absolutely. Looking forward to watching UFC 295 on Saturday. Yeah, looks good, Acers, doesn't it? Really good. Kenny's in. NXT has been a top wrestling show for a while now. Love the Trick Mellow angle. Yeah, it's really good, isn't it? Really, really good. And like when you think about what's come through there, if you even think about what's not even in the company anymore that's come down through there, Alistair Black and stuff like that and all. You think the guys, Adam Cole, Roddy Strong, all those guys. Now, I know they were quite established at times as well, but certainly when you think about how they built them up, when you think about Alistair Black in NXT, good Lord, he was outstanding. Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, all these guys. It's interesting how Corbin seems to have far more star power now than he's back on NXT than when he was on the main roster. Do you know what it is? I think sometimes, and I won't say demote them, but I think when they go back down there, there's probably a comfort feeling about it. You know, it's like when you moved out and went to college when you were younger. Some of you guys might be even doing it now. But when you moved out and you went to college and you were maybe living in digs, there was always that kind of nice feeling when you came home. And I think down there as well, a lot of those people live down around that Florida area and stuff like that. So it feels very much like home and stuff like that. And I'm sure when they go back there as well, they get real good vibes about it and stuff like that. And when you're around people like Shawn Michaels and people like that and all, listen, it's only be a good recipe for you to succeed. Anyone who's down there who doesn't succeed, you probably weren't meant for this business. That's what I believe anyway. Um, Morris, the old NWA cocaine scene set up NXT. Lovely. Rumor says the Mania 25 main event is still going on. Yeah, absolutely. Good lord. Remember the punt? Go back and look at that punt. Am I thinking this much of a miss and sold? Good lord. That kick. Where do you think Ron SmackDown will go, Noel? Uh, I'm not too sure. But I tell you, wherever they go, between what Endeavor's doing and TKO's doing, someone's going to be paying a pretty penny for them. That's for sure. Loving the Ronnie, you look like FTR. Had a love child together. Top guy, you absolute legend. Dino, you're an absolute star, mate. Good see you in the chat and stuff like that, yeah. I said Dino earlier, kind of outlaw Ron Bass. The boys were saying Jake the Snake, Rick Rude, all that kind of stuff. So pretty good. Who knows? Come November, might end up keeping it. Be mad, wouldn't it? Henning slapped a load of shaving cream on Lesnar's head and Lesnar went mad. And at the same time, Flair was asking the flight attendant to get on his lap. Madness. Absolute madness. Great card on Saturday, 296 with Edwards and Covington. Is probably my most anticipated card of the year. Yeah, it's going to be a belter. Might do a little preview for that actually during the week. We'll see. Devlin and Escobar for the cruiserweight title was absolutely brilliant. Everything JD done in NXT was class. Spot on, Kenny. Spot on. And it's amazing down there as well, isn't it? Just how more. Do you know if that match was probably on one of the, I won't say the bigger shows, but if it was on a Raw or a SmackDown, it mightn't have the same feel about it. Baz is in. How are you, Baz? Evening, Niall. How's the tosh? It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. Yeah, Baz was in with me today. I didn't look like this though. I'll be there if you do. Imagine, imagine. Where do we want to go now? We talk about Cody. Cody looks like so far year to date in 2023, Cody tops the merch sales estimated. Of course, he's in number one, apparently followed by Stone Cold Steve Austin, Roman Reigns, John Cena, and LA Knight. Sharing good company there, Cody Rhodes is. But so far, estimations for top selling merchandise 2023 year to date, Cody Rhodes is top of that pile. I wonder where LA Knight will end up. Great to see as well. Look at Stone Cold there in number two. It's great to see. Just goes to show how dedicated we are as fans to those guys back in the day, Stone Cold and The Rock and stuff like that. Brilliant, brilliant stuff. Morris Devlin said he has unfinished business with Walter in a Saudi media interview. They had a banger at OTT. They did have a banger at OTT. And you know what would be cool, Morris, if they were to push the button on that. I wonder would they use some of the OTT footage like what they did with Lyra. That would be pretty cool as well. And brilliant for Joe and the crew at OTT as well. So we'll see where that goes. It's time for Copenhagen to win right now. Yeah, absolutely it is. Where do I want to go next? We'll talk about this. Jim Cornette having a go at Kane yesterday on Twitter. Don't know if he's picked up on this, but this was pretty cool. Kane came out 94% or 94% of public mass shootings in the US occur in gun-free zones. I don't know whether you can have a shooting in a place and call it a gun-free zone because there'd have to be guns there for the shooting to happen. So it's kind of weird. There's an interesting one with Kane as well. He has kind of a weird view about gun policy and stuff like that and all, isn't it? It's kind of weird. So, of course, our uncle Jim comes out and goes, and 100% of them are fault of gutless elected officials like you who pander to the right-wing hillbillies instead of acknowledging the insanity of our gun laws and doing something to severely restrict access to them. So F off with your MAGA horse shit, Glenn. Hashtag F the NRA. There you go. What a response from Jim Cornette. No doubt not going to be on Glenn Jacobs, aka Kane's Christmas card list, I would imagine, but certainly interesting to see there that whole debate, the whole gun debate just crops up all the time in the States, doesn't it, and stuff like that. And I've even spoken to people that I know over there and stuff like that. Myself and Dino were in Dallas for WrestleMania with the lads and stuff like that. I have to say, sometimes when you go into some of these cities over there and stuff like that, you can see why people, have that desire to be, have a concealed weapon and all that kind of stuff and all. But again, I'm not too sure. It's a big debate, isn't it? But I think living over there, I could see why people want on the arm up, you know. Scary, scary. Morris was there as well. Morris, we crazy, crazy stuff, you know. Um, Dino's in Pete versus Walter in Brooklyn live when we went to New York, and Cole Gargano, best of three. Unbelievable. Yeah, absolutely. Um, Unreal. OTT made it one of the best matches to ever happen on the island. WWE would make it a squash. I'm not too sure they would. I'm not too sure they would. I think personally, um, I think there's a bit of respect in there for Jordan Devlin. I think Devlin carries in there somewhat a lot more respect than maybe we give him credit for in there at the moment. I think so, and I think they're building him up in a really, really cool way as well, and stuff like that. You know, they know how good he is, and as I said earlier, with Ziggler exiting the building, who I think was absolutely one of the best workers in there at the time, just underutilized, and they didn't really have a lot for him, but absolutely one of the best workers. And I can see JD. He's developing that way as well. His selling is absolutely sensational. He makes everything really meaningful and stuff like that as well. If you really delve into his matches and stuff like that, I don't think they would. I think there'd be a lot more respect, and you can be guaranteed that Walter will have the height of respect for him in there. So I don't think it will be that way. Leave Glenn alone, Jim. I don't think you can blame American gun laws on the next WWE wrestler. I would rather Kane be governed than Glenn. Yeah. I think Jordan's time will come for sure. A slow burner, yeah, absolutely. Build them up nicely. I'm going to see wrestling next Saturday night. £5 a ticket. What is it, Daz? Let us know what it is you're going to see. Be pretty cool. How did you feel, guys, about this one? This man's kind of he's getting a bit done a bit dirty, isn't he, really, since this takeover and stuff like that? It's kind of I'm not too sure. Okay, we know he got the 9 billion or whatever it is, which is a tidy sum of money. Don't think he was waiting on money in fairness, but he got it nonetheless. But they've done him dirty since it, haven't they? I gotta go full screen on this. I'll come back to your comments in a second. But in WWE's parent company TKO financial filing with the SEC today, they have stated the following, and I think they've done him dirty big time. Mr. McMahon's membership on our board could expose us to negative publicity and or have other adverse financial and operational impacts on our business. His membership also may result in additional scrutiny or otherwise exacerbate the other risks described herein. Any of these outcomes could directly or indirectly have adverse financial and operational impacts on our business. What do you think of this? Is this man being done dirty or what? And listen, I know somebody in the chat will say, "Well, it's maybe about time," but I think they're doing him dirty. Um, I think when we go back and we talk about when the merger was spoke about at first, and the way the boys were on the stills and they were all chummy, and you had Vince and you had Dana, and then they all went down to the old stock exchange or whatever it was, Wall Street, and they launched TKO and the merger and ringing the bell, and they're all on the stage there and stuff. Ever since then, it's gone a little bit dirty, isn't it? A little bit dirty to say the least. Dana was in. I was more afraid of the nutters we brought having guns in their hands in Dallas. Never mind the hillbillies living their face blue, their face blue smile. Yeah, just to give them the inside track on that, we went to a gun club, a firing range, and we all had to go on these guns and stuff like that, and all as you do when you're in the States and stuff like that. And myself and Dino got a few scares from the guys we were in the boots with. The boots are quite tight, and lads were just waving guns around, and these guns were loaded. Yeah, and myself and Dino both came out of a boot, and we were white as a ghost, guns being waved at us and stuff like that. No, but still good fun, Dino. Still good fun. Great memories. When he wrestled Walter, he made every chop like it made his heart stop for a second. I think you'll find maybe his heart did stop for a second every chop he took. Good Lord, Miz, do you know what you've bitten off here? Do you know what you've bitten off? That the one in Carlo does. Uh, I wouldn't say so because Daz is in the UK. Daz is in the UK, so I wouldn't think so. That might Morrison might be the one. Is it the one with your man Les Battersby? When's that coming up? Who, in your opinion, is the most successful Irish wrestler of all time? Um, That's a hard one to call, Stephen, isn't it? Because they've all done exceptionally well. They've all done so well. I don't know. How do you separate Seamus, Fergal, and Becky? How do you separate them? You know what I mean? They've all achieved so much success. They've all climbed that mountain. You know, you look at Seamus in there for longevity and stuff like that, but then you look at Fergal, you look at Finn Balor and where he's wrestled, and the stuff he did in Japan and the Bullet Club stuff and all that stuff was amazing at the time. And then he came to WWE. Before he went into WWE, he worked a lot of indie stuff around Europe. He did all that character stuff. Remember, he did one of the shows and he was the Joker and all that kind of stuff and all. It's quite a dynamic there. A lot of layers on that Finn Balor onion and stuff like that. But success, absolutely huge. You know what I mean? Then you look at Sheamus and the career he's had in WWE, absolutely outstanding. Very hard. Let me know, Stephen, what you think. I would find it very difficult to separate Sheamus, Balor, and Becky. I'd find it very, very difficult. It'd be a tough one and stuff like that. Um, Basic Pro Wrestling, Noel. I must check it out. Does anyone we know on the card? Let us know if there's anyone we know on the card. Henry's doing a watch along of the Arsenal game. Morris, you'll be all over that. We'll jump into the chat. Big up Henry as well. I'm going to see a small time wrestling show in a hotel on Saturday. Should be a bit of crack. €7 ticket. Stephen, that's probably the one Morris is talking about, is it? That's probably the one Morris is talking about. Had to be done. Get that. Gotcha out. Absolutely. I think Vince is a lot more involved than they let on. It's just PR to make it seem he isn't. You have to be careful with that, Morris. If that's a foiling to the sec is fairly it's serious business. Les Battersby's February the 18th in Manchester before the Fuzzy gig. That's going to be quality. Morris is going with Sheamus, Becky, Finn. Yeah, absolutely. Look, you could do a WWE ranking. Yeah, WWE ranking. Let's talk about Nate. Let's talk about Woo Energy. Let's talk about if you want to be like the Nature Boy Ric Flair, you got to get this Woo Energy into you. Signed a deal as the exclusive energy drink for the Cleveland Cavaliers in the NBA and also All Elite Wrestling. It's going to be available at All Elite shows. It's going to be on the concession. It's going to be in the locker room. All these lads in there. And if I'm MJF right now, do you know what I'm doing? I'm going to drink a can of that stuff backstage. And then I am going to come out like Jay Lethal on Impact. And I'm going to be like Ric Flair. I'm going to take him off to a tee. Look at what he says. Flair, 74, continues to bring his charisma wherever he goes. And he credits Woo Energy with keeping him going each day. It's me and a can, brother. You hang around with Hogan there too much now. It's me and a can, brother. That's how I define it, he said. So that's Ric Flair in a can. So if I'm NJF, I'm going to neck one of those cans. I'm going to come out with the wig on me and the robe. Woo Energy. There you go. But Ric Flair's new energy drink. When I'm in the States in January, I'm going to try and pick up a few cans and stuff like that. And we'll put them on display somewhere and stuff like that. No, you got to pick them up. Look at those cans. Look how good those cans look. The Nature Boy. I think there's one is dragon fruit. I'm not sure what the other one is, and one is strawberry and banana. So they've 3 flavors at the moment and stuff like that. But absolutely mad. Mad. Uh, oh God, I hate what this man has become. No, it's all British wrestlers, Niall. My friend is a wrestler. I don't know his wrestling name, but his real name is Declan. Oh, cool. Absolutely. Well, we wish him the best luck and we hope the show goes well. Let us know, Daz, next week how it went and stuff like that. Give us a little report on it. Euro Shop Powerade, that's all it is. Except it won't be on Euro Shop. As in WWE Euro Shop. Is he going to be allowed to smoke the drip in AEW? He's going to be allowed to do whatever he wants. Goal United 1-0 up according to Das. That's all we needed to hear. That's all we needed to hear, didn't we? Right. Let's get in and take a little bit of history so we let you all off then for the football. I'm going to bring it up here now. Now, there we go. Let's get that off. Right. Hoyland with the goal. Yeah, no surprise there. He's doing really well in the Champions League. Much better than in the league and stuff like that. So let's go down through our history then. Quick history. 2003, Mike Lockwood, best known to fans as Crash Holly, passed away, sadly, at the age of 32. I did love Crash Holly all those times and going down with the scales on his back and stuff like that. No, he was cool. Very sad to hear of his passing, especially at 32. 2005, Joey Styles was surprisingly unveiled as the new lead play-by-play announced on Monday Night Raw. He would keep the role until May 2006. 1994, on Monday Night Raw, Vince McMahon himself announced that Macho Man Randy Savage had left the WWE after a 20-year stint. He would debut for WCW weeks later. Savage never appeared for WWE again before his death in 2011. He was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2015. RIP Macho Man Randy Savage sadly lost one of the greats, of course. That was a sad day, really, and it shouldn't have really happened. It was something that should have never happened. 1975, the longest AWA World Heavyweight Championship reign in history was ended in St. Paul, Minnesota. Vern Gagne's 2,625-day reign. 7 years and 70 days, when we're talking about Roman Reigns and Hogan and all stuff like that, was ended at the hands of Nick Bockwinkel. 2005, this is one that kills me. Eddie Guerrero defeated Mr. Kennedy on SmackDown to earn a spot on the Blue Brands team at the up-and-coming Survivor Series pay-per-view. Of course, we know now he would never make it. This was Guerrero's last professional wrestling match before his death 4 days later. And of course, we'll be extensively covering Eddie Guerrero next week as part of his anniversary. 1997 Survivor Series 1997 took place at the Molson Centre in Montreal, Quebec, Canada, and is famous for perhaps the most famous moment in wrestling history, the Montreal Screwjob. That took place this week. 2009, on an episode of Monday Night Raw from Sheffield, England, guest host and former boxing world champion Ricky Hatton defeated Chavo Guerrero in a boxer versus wrestler match. Ricky Hatton, hey? If you haven't checked it out, actually, his documentary is up there. I think, is it on Amazon or one of them, or Netflix, something like that? It's excellent. It's really, really good and well worth a watch. Sean is in Joey with the love heart. Absolutely, Joey Styles. 1991, Dick the Bruiser passed away at the age of 62. His death was caused by internal bleeding after unknowingly bursting a blood vessel whilst weightlifting. Very, very sad. 2009, James Gibson, aka Jamie Noble, announced his retirement from wrestling. He suffered a back injury the prior week on Raw against Sheamus that left him unable to continue with his 14-year wrestling career. Jamie Noble, always liked Jamie Noble, it was cool. 2011, WWE unveiled their logo for their future WWE network. This is one you ain't gonna like. That was eventually launched in 2014. The logo will be adopted by the whole company soon after. And that's where we got those belts and all that kind of stuff. So not too good. Let's get into some notable birthdays. At Morris, if you win tonight, are you qualified? I think they're not quite as. I think that group is tight enough. Do you reckon, Morris? Yeah, pretty much. I reckon there's no striker, Tooch in the team, and no bench, though. Absolutely. Stephen's in. Did you hear when Perfect gave Yoko chocolate lace with laxatives on a plane? And when Warrior needed to go number 2, he couldn't fit in the plane toilet. Dude, the attendant gave him a bucket. Good Lord. Imagine the stuff that went on back then was crazy. Let's take some notable birthdays. Our new SmackDown GM, Nick Aldis, celebrates his birthday this week, 1986. Ken Patera, 1943. The Great King Kong Bundy, 1957. Commentator on AEW at the moment, Tony Schiavone, 1957. Okada celebrates his birthday this week, 1987, along with Ted DiBiase Jr., 1982. Pete Dunne celebrates it, 1993. Fantastic guy, Pete Dunne. Chris Jericho, 1970. Y2J celebrates his birthday. And of course, Nick Patrick, 1959. That is your notable birthdays for this week. I meant Yoko, not Warrior. Absolutely. Can you imagine Yoko? Yoko would fill a bucket. Must have been some bucket all the same, wasn't it, Stephen, when you think about it? Must have been some bucket. Folks, keep supporting the upper tier. They absolutely do. You knock it out of the park, folks, each week. That's it, folks, for another week of Pro Wrestling Weekly. We will be back next week. There's not much football on. I think they're going on an international break. So we might have a couple of wrestling shows next week. Certainly the team going through next week, of course, will be remembering Eddie Guerrero. So get ready, do your homework on it and stuff like that. Go back and look at it again, and we will share our moments next Wednesday. Some of our finest moments and thoughts and memories on the late, great Eddie Guerrero. Thanks for tuning in as always, folks. We really appreciate the support. Great to see some new people in the chat as well. If you are watching the show, jump in the chat, give your views. Wrestling is a business of opinion. You're never right. You're never wrong. You're somewhere in between, and no one's opinion is right or wrong. As always, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification button, drop a like on the video, and of course, share the content. Keep on sharing it out there. Keep on growing this community. I really appreciate everything in the chat. Hopefully by next Wednesday, the mustache will look even better. Let's see how it goes and how it progresses. Stephen reckons Sheamus is the best Irish wrestler. Ian goes, and we are over and out. And we will talk to you again real soon, folks. Cheers.